I know many of y'all know I didn't make it on last week's episode. Was dealing with a bit of some car issues and not like how you would think. Yeah, I just bought a car, a little over last year, about a little over a year ago now. But come to find out, my car has two batteries, right? So the newer cars, they're building them with two batteries, one main battery and then one auxiliary battery that speaks to the main battery. So um, was doing battery tests and, was like, man, my main battery. So this is how it went. AutoZone sold me a dream, lied to me, right? So I found out through O'Reilly that they work off of basically a commission role, right? So they need to sell X amount of batteries via the state in order to kind of stay open. So what they did was they lied to me and was like, oh, man, test your battery, man, it's bad. You need to buy a new one. Boom, it's $190. I'm like, damn, all right, cool. Need my car to start, so I paid for it. But they didn't install it because bullshit, right? AutoZone is, yeah, I'm talking down on AutoZone, so we ain't getting sponsored by them, y'all. So we can go and hang out with them.
Did they use the COVID? Did they use the COVID for the excuses of why they can't install?
They did not, man. They just some sorry ass. Yeah, just on some models we can't do it really, and I'm just like, yeah, fuck you, real hard like that. And I walked out, and so I go down the street to O'Reilly, literally about 0.2 miles down the way. So I come to find out, get my battery tested, and they can, do the install. So they come back to me and was like, hey, man, we tested your battery. Your main battery is good. So I don't know where they was getting that information from. Maybe they was just trying to hurry up and sell you a battery. So in the midst of them selling me the battery that I didn't need, they also didn't install it. And come to find out, they sold me the wrong size. So for forcing me to buy a battery, I bought the wrong one. You couldn't install the wrong one. And turns out that I didn't have the correct one all to begin with. So make a long story short, I ended up finding out that my car has two batteries. And, so I'm riding up and down the street, literally the day of the podcast last week, Tuesday. And I'm trying to find somebody that I'm like, damn, I got a battery that I really don't need. So I end up, going back to AutoZone that same night. I end up cursing out the manager. We end up almost fighting in there. The dude was pussy, really. He didn't want to fight. He tried to put the battery outside the door. A lot of stuff happened, man. It wasn't a great Christian moment for me. No pun intended. Being Christian, I'm a Christian man, but it wasn't a very good Christian moment. But I did learn from it. Patience is a virtue. But what I also learned was, my battery has a second car, my car has a second battery. But the electrical work is so complicated on it that nobody is really willing to take the risk on installing it because it could reset the computer in your car. It can cause malfunctions, and they don't want to be held liable. So I'm literally driving up and down 249 on like probably a single charge. Like, man, if I cut my car off again, my car ain't gonna start. So I end up having to go to the gas station. Boom, car don't start. I gotta call State Farm, get my car jumped. I'm riding down again. So I'm like, this is 2 hours go by. I'm like, God, if you could just start this car, I'm gonna follow more behind you. Literally, we there for 30 minutes. He jumping it. He finally jumped. I go down the street. Something in my spirit just told me, man, go to Advanced Auto Parts. It says Advanced. Obviously, somebody in there got to be. This is just my ideology, right? So I meet, man, and I'm glad I followed my spirit, man. So I ended up meeting a Caucasian man in there named Curtis. Me and Curtis, our spirits connected immediately. And I found myself actually beginning to minister in the parking lot of Advanced Auto Parts. And so in the midst of me, kind of, in need, I'm like, telling them my story, how I've been kind of, running the last 3-4 days, like, trying to basically find out, man, my battery ain't tripping, but my battery is giving me the logo that my battery is dead, what's going on. So me and Curtis ended up chopping it up, and he was telling me that, hey, we got the auxiliary battery you need. Me and him literally ended up watching a YouTube video together. It seemed like a simple enough job. The man took the risk of getting fired. with consent from his manager, was a black gentleman that was his manager, and he consented that, you know, they was able to do the install. And in the midst of that, he was telling me how he had just got married to his wife, and he found out a month into the marriage that his wife had cancer. And probably the happiest moment of his life turned into the darkest moment. And in that moment, I was just letting him know that, you know, as Christians, you know, we go through things, and not so that, you know, that God doesn't love us enough, or, you know, that he wants us to struggle, but it's a chance for God's glory to go forth and for him to be seen, and for you to know him on a better and a more personal level, right? So if you've never known, or if you never needed God to provide for you, how would you know God as a provider? If you never needed healing, how would you ever, you know God as a healing God, right? You would only hear stories and, you know, third-party accounts of how he done it, but not really done it for you. So in the midst of that, man, we connected, and I was able to get this battery installed, which I went to about 4 different locations. They said they couldn't do it. I found somebody who, again, you know, was touched by God, and he was able to do the install for me mid-show during the podcast. I didn't want to put that on everybody's heart, but you know, it was just a chance for me to minister. And I actually told him about the podcast, and he was, you know, wanting to know the links and where he could find it. So Curtis, if you're listening today, man, shout out to you, brother. I appreciate the help. You definitely did me a solid, and it didn't go unnoticed, man. So I definitely appreciate you. It definitely didn't go unnoticed. So I'm respecting Advanced Auto Parts, and I'm just respecting another kindred spirit, man. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it.